I like to draw on all of the practices in sexuality for women, particularly around the Taoist practices for the female body, because our sexuality can be a way of cultivating longevity.
Welcome to Conversations with Faye. I'm Faye Waterman, your host, and my guest today is Jenni Mears. She is a clinical hypnotherapist, a sexologist, an author, and a speaker. Welcome, Jenni, to the show, and thank you so much.
Thanks, Faye. It's really lovely to be here. Thank you for inviting me to talk about something that's possibly taboo, but as we spoke earlier, your sexuality can either destroy life or it can create life. And so it's really lovely to come in with agency, of course, in our conversation, always being the underpinning. But it's really just beautiful to have some real talk, because I think it's about time that we were able to speak freely about a part of us that is,
avoided.
Yeah, but it's connected to everything, our health, our longevity, our emotional self. So it's a bit of a shame that it's also taboo and people are craving for a good education around sexual well-being.
Yeah. Now, Jenni, just talk a little bit about your background, where you come from, because you've been doing this for a long time.
I have.
And, it's evolved over the years, and the things that you've seen and realised and how important it is for that education to be out there for women and men as well. It's not just for one side, it's for both.
Oh, absolutely. But I think if a woman is fully connected to all of her body, has brain chemistry, not just to her hands, arms, legs, face, hair, but to all of her body, which does include her breasts and her genitals, she has like a whole body intelligence that knows it's yes and knows it's no. And I think in the world we're living in right now, it's really important that we are walking around knowing who we are from the inside out.
How many people would you say actually know themselves from the inside out, really?
Well, just in my experience with my work, you asked me before how long I've been doing this. I've probably been doing, as a sexologist, I've been doing that kind of work maybe for the last 15 years. But before that, a lot of clinical hypnotherapy and counselling work. I have explored lots of energy modalities to try and understand that part of me as well. But it's coming up now for 28 years. So I've sat in front of hundreds of people, mostly women, people with a vulva, but I have actually worked with some men, people with a penis, over the years. But predominantly for me, it's women. And I'm always shocked at what the little knowledge that women have around their bodies, including myself. I mean, really, I didn't get that kind of understanding. I've been married 45 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. 45 years, and I had children in my late 30s. So you would think I'd know a bit about my body. But I really didn't know about my body until I was perimenopause. And that was really what tipped the scale for me. Because there isn't a lot of research, and there's definitely not a lot of research, medical research into menopause for women, which is very sad.
Yes.
Because there's some great changes that our bodies go through, and I recently found out that our brain changes and it doesn't change back after menopause. So for me, it was like I really realised that, I've done a lot of work around the mind-body connection. I'd done a lot of work around understanding both my emotional intelligence, but I actually knew nothing. When I first heard about knowing your core erotic theme, which is part of what I learnt as a sexologist, I was quite surprised by that, because understanding your core erotic theme that drives you in your business, in your relationships. Like it's not just to do with your sex life.
Okay, so let's delve into that a little bit.
So your core erotic theme is actually understanding what creates arousal in your body.
Okay.
And that's not always sexual arousal.
It's an emotional arousal. It's a fear. It can be anything.
Well, it's
really
linked to your desires and your fantasies. And because all that's taboo, because it's part of your sexuality, we're not allowed to have fantasies. So for me, that got me thinking. I was like thinking, well, how can you, if you can't have a fantasy, it is like a desire, a dream. Some people call it a goal. And it's all meant to happen up here, and then it's meant to just appear in your life.
So up here, not through your body.
Correct.
Right.
But for me to actually truly connect, and then for the blocks around your core erotic theme, because they come from your childhood, and it's either the relationship you might have had with a parent or someone close to you in your younger years.
Or going to school and being taboo.
That's
to talk
right.
about.
Or being bullied at school. Like all of those things set us up, not just, like I guess in counselling and psychology, they do look at childhood patterns and things like that. But just even like what gets shut down for some people, and particularly I work a lot with people who have had sexual abuse.
Right.
And so how that shuts the capacity down in their life to truly receive life, to really enjoy life. And I really do believe it comes back to, first of all, understanding your body.
Oh, absolutely.
And in my work, I've realised, because I do a lot of pelvic work as well with women, integrative pelvic healthcare, and I have to tell you that no woman's anatomy looks the same as any other woman's. All the bits are there.
But they're all different.
They all look different, and they're all different sizes and different widths, and they change as you age, and we don't get that kind of education. And then when I've worked with younger women, they know nothing about their bodies, but then they're supposed to give it over to somebody to experiment with to find out what feels right for them. And my brain was just kind of going, wow, I did that.
We all did it. We all did it, didn't
I'm
we?
thinking, my poor mother, I remember after I had children talking to my mum, and my mum still didn't know, bless my mum, she's passed now. My mum didn't know what an orgasm was. In fact, she didn't have one for her whole life. Experimenting, it was being experimented on.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea, I had no neural pathway to all of my internal organs, which for women, that's where a lot of our pleasure lives.
Okay, so how do we get that internal flow to understand?
Well, first of all, in the Fembodiment methodology, that's where I bring my clinical hypnotherapy in, is that I guide processes that rewire the brain first, that open the parts of the brain. We have doorways. I just like to make everything simple. So you have doorways in your brain, and depending on life experience, how much you've been educated, how well you know your own body, sometimes those doors can be shut for years. And so we need to open the door and switch the light on. And that can happen, for younger women, that can happen fairly quickly, but it can not happen like for me. I'd been married for a long time. I'd been having sex for a long time. I had 2 children, and still some parts of my sexual brain
We're still shut down.
And they need to be wired to your psoas muscle and all of those things. And that takes education.
Well, it's creating that awareness. I mean, kids go through school, girls go through school, and these days they're I don't know how to explain it, but you see them, they have this confidence about them, and they're walking around with different clothes, midriff showing, and, all this sort of thing. And that is a confidence for them. But are they really aware of their body and how to use it to understand that it's theirs?
That's actually a really good question, because I think if a woman is really proud of her body and she wants to show it off, that's absolutely up to her.
Yes.
But I think she needs to have brain chemistry at every part of her body so that she has a voice. If anybody makes her feel, if anyone makes how can I explain that?
Just say it as it is.
Yeah, like, so if some person comes up and goes, oh, nice tits, like your cleavage, right, she has a choice. She has a choice to either feel shame around that, or if she has learnt breast practices and awakened her breasts to their full capacity where you can have a breast orgasm, sure, she can be loud and proud of that because it's about her.
Yeah.
It's not about the other person.
That said something.
Yeah, because that other person, there's a bit of power over another body when someone does that. Or if you feel very connected to your body, it can actually be a compliment. And she can say either, oh, thanks for noticing, from a confident place, or she can say from a confident place, that's actually probably overstepping a mark there.
Yes.
You don't know my body.
Yes. Yes.
Right? You don't know how I feel about my cleavage. I actually don't feel like that. So that was a bit of an unwanted opinion.
But how many people, how many women would do that?
Not many.
And this is the whole thing. It's embracing that whole you and knowing you and saying, when you want to say no, you say no and mean no.
And you can say it. I hope I modelled it from a heart space.
With a nice...
I didn't go, how dare you? How dare you look at my tits like that, right? Because it's not about that.
No, it's not.
It's not. It's about how do I feel about them? How do they even feel? Because when you have true connection to your body, you have language. So in that case, I would check in with my breasts in that moment. How are you feeling about that? And if they go, oh, you're being noticed, yeah, I'm enjoying that. Or if I'm feeling like, oh, that's like a little bit intrusive, then I would speak. But, we come from long lineages of patriarchal, be a good girl, don't say anything. And I don't think that that's necessarily from... I try not to judge that because we only know what we know in our families.
That's right. But isn't it great that you're out there, you're teaching this practice, you're getting women to understand that it's their body, they own it.
Yeah.
And they can say yes, no, or thank you for the compliment, whatever it
that's
is,
right.
when it's appropriate. But it's getting those women and those young girls to understand that it's their body, to appreciate it.
Well, it's their body to find out.
Yeah.
Like I say to a lot of, particularly my younger clients, and actually even some of the women I work with that are midlife and beyond, either when you're younger, the first person you have sex with is yourself, or when you've been having sex for a long time and you're not having an orgasm and you're not enjoying it and you're just doing it for whatever reason, for somebody else, it's actually time to take a break from that and come back and reconnect with your sexuality, with yourself. Find out what feels good for you. Our bodies... I speak mainly around women's sexual well-being because that's sort of my specialty. Yeah. Women's bodies are hardwired for pleasure, and our pleasure, first of all, starts at our breasts. So this is where the kettle's boiled. We need to bring the steam down here to get everything going, to be ready to be able to have sex and feel pleasure. Whereas the polarity for somebody with a penis, it's the other way round.
Totally.
Yeah. So their kettle's boiled here all the time, and it's about bringing that up to their hearts. And so that's where the disconnect happens, because you and I have brain chemistry to a vulva. We don't have brain chemistry to a penis. So how could we even know when we touch a genital like that? How can we even know what that feels like? Because we don't. We don't have brain chemistry to that. And that's my big thing. When you've got brain chemistry to your own body, you can actually articulate in a loving, open way, oh, that feels okay, but if you did this, that would feel really good.
It's all about, and I'll keep coming back to it, creating that awareness. So, honing in and reconnecting with who we are and knowing who we are, because we have to know who we are, and then connecting all these parts, opening those doors, as you say, and going through the body and connecting with your breasts, connecting with your genitals.
Yeah,
and
so you're a whole unit.
So that you understand that when you go to have sex, that you know that you're going to have pleasure and you're going to have an orgasm.
Yeah, and look, it is your birthright. Whether you are a person with a vulva or a person with a penis, it is your birthright to feel pleasure from the day we're born. I mean, I know you've got kids, haven't you?
Two.
Yeah. You got daughters or sons?
Boy and a girl.
Yeah. So you would know, you would have had a similar thing that when nappy comes off, there's a little erection, a little wee, right? Well, there's pleasure in that.
Yeah.
And I haven't had girls. I've had 2 boys, but I do know, I speak to my clients and friends that have had girls, and hands do go down there because it actually is very soothing.
It's the curiosity, isn't it?
Well, it also creates the feel-good hormones in the body. So for little kids, when they're doing it, it's actually putting serotonin into their brain, which is actually good for them. So it's like we're hardwired in our sexuality from the time we're born. There's this belief, I even used to have it, that like you get to a certain age and then you become a sexual person because that's what society tells us. But it's not true. And I like to draw on all of the practices in sexuality for women, particularly around the Taoist practices for the female body, because our sexuality can be a way of cultivating longevity.
A healthy mind, healthy body. And that longevity.
Yeah, and the connection between here and here. Many women walk around with their heart and it's beautiful, but they're the same women who get abused. They're the same women who get used. They're the same women who complain to me that they can't meet a nice guy. They're unhappy in life because they're only walking around as a half unit. And we want to be a whole unit.
So they're not complete.
Yeah. And
they've never known how to be complete.
Yeah. And let's be honest, your pelvic bowl is your power centre.
It is actually.
And your womb, no matter what they do, unless, of course, someone creates an AI womb, which probably heartbreakingly that may happen. But it won't be human. You can put something in a test tube. You can do all of that. But then what do they have to put it in for it to be born?
Into a womb.
It's got to be cooked in the womb.
Yep.
And it's got to be birthed either through a vagina or, of course, these days you can have a cesarean. But at the end of the day, they still need a pelvic bowl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So why would any woman on this planet not have brain chemistry and that connection of their mind, heart and pelvic bowl? Right? I just can't even reconcile anymore that would be okay. That's why at 68, I'm still doing the work. I've created this fembodiment modality to train up other women to just keep helping.
Educating women.
Yeah.
To understand that they need, if they don't feel that they have the power, to get it back or to get it in the first place.
And to not ignore your sexuality, and that it is just like anything. We all look a bit different, or if we don't, we do different things with our hair. It's like our vulva, our genitals don't look the same as anybody else's, but we hide that away. And that's why I remind women when they start comparing themselves and trying to be somebody else, I say to them, but your body is actually telling you that you are nothing like anybody else. Tap into that. Have a look at it in the mirror and start to see the beauty of it. Ages and stages of life. Like I think about my own pelvic bowl and, I've had a cesarean, I've had 2 pretty full-on births. And what that gave me, it gave me my beautiful boys. It's also birthed a whole modality out of it. You know, like I bring all my awareness down here, and when I'm solving a problem or when I'm creating a new program or my modality, I didn't just rely on what I know in my training. I brought it through my body, and then I birthed it out into the world.
But this is where the feeling is.
That's right. Well,
this
that's
is your second brain.
Well,
you know?
gut,
your gut brain.
But I believe that we have a brain in our pelvis too. And even if you have your womb removed, for those women that may have had their womb removed, you still have the energetic space, the energetic print where it's sat. And you absolutely can still, that's where your creativity is birthed from. You can tell those women. The women that you see as successful are there's always that beautiful connection between their inner power and their wholeheartedness. You can tell those women.
There should be more out there. But how do you get this message out to people? How do you, and this is something, because it's a taboo subject, Jenni, and we know it's a taboo subject.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it shouldn't be a taboo subject.
No, it shouldn't. But how I do it is, I unfortunately in my industry, we have to play the game, especially in social media. I have to filter words. I have to change letters. I have to not be as explicit as I have been today. I kind of have to, but I try not to do that too much because
it's not the right message that you're putting out there. I'm
not role modelling what I'm asking women to do. I'm not asking women to be sexually aversive.
No.
What I'm asking them to do is to own their sexuality, and that looks like know thyself. You know, become a know thyself specialist. The more I've tapped into my pelvic bowl, I understand I have brain chemistry to anything, you know, to all of my body. I can walk into a room and my intuition is like over the roof. And I know
senses
that
are there, aren't they?
because I was that woman up until I was in my late 40s. I was that heart-centered woman who overgave. Who gave to the point where even when I got a bit back, I actually couldn't hold it in my body because I was so used to going, oh no, you have that. Yeah. I shouldn't have that. You have that.
But isn't that is so much so with a lot of women? They give away what they don't need to give away. They need to own it. And then if they decide that that's what they want, then...
Yeah.
Hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. Changing lives, one conversation at a time.